Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's Trade of the Day, Friday afternoon slash evening slash Saturday morning, Zoom edition, and a nice recovery in the crypto markets this past few days. We had positive economic data on Wednesday. It seemed to push up all the markets. Bitcoin is back over 65K, broke 67 earlier today, dipped a little bit since then. Ethereum's back over 3,000. We're all basking in the glow of a green day. I've got my Ethereum club background, and yeah, it's a good Friday. So let's go to the charts, check it out. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart. And I'll assume that's okay. I did add an indicator. I changed one actually. This EMA indicator that I've added, the multi EMA, also puts up, it'll tell you what, it's got a little label on it. That's what I was looking for. So as you can see, I'm not a big EMA guy, but the CryptNation guys use them religiously, so I thought I could bring them out. I will look at them when I'm contemplating a longer trade on the day chart. And as we can see on Bitcoin on the day chart, we're well above the 200 EMA, exponential moving average, and then the 50 and the 20 are on top of each other. So we've broken above all of those, and as you can see, we're in the upper 66s on Bitcoin, and well above, shooting for 70K again. Love to see that next week or sometime this month. But we have the top of the range on Bitcoin. I still have my Fibonacci retracement here, and I think I'm going to go over this question now. Most of the questions that I receive via email, I'm going to go over at the end of the Zoom call, but this one I'm going to go over now. Someone emailed me, I think it was Patrick, wanted to know, how do you draw these? Because I sent sort of an intro to Fibonacci retracements video on Wednesday to my email list. So if you've seen that, you might have some questions about how I actually use it. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you that now. So I'm gonna delete this one. And whenever you click on something like this little toolbar pops up and you can do that. So first thing you have to do is find it. And you can find that over here on your trading view. And once you you can hover over these to the far right, these stars, and click it. If you do, it'll add it to your toolbar. So I've done that with the fib retracement and the fib extension. I'm going to show you my toolbar. It's right down here. You click that. Anything you've put a star by will show up, and my Fibonacci retracement's right here. I've drawn this line at 40,000. So I'm going to start here and draw it up to the top and then pull it over. So right about there. And I've enabled this. There's a lot you can do customizing your indicators. And I've added these so that these print out over here on the right. And when I first learned about this was probably 4 years ago, give or take. And the trader I learned from customized these values. These are the ones he was interested in. 236, 382, 0.5, 618, 786, and 886. So these are sort of the ratios that occur in nature and science, and coins tend to come back to. But he only made 1 or 2 trades a month. I'm a day trader. I want to trade Monday through Friday. So, and even sometimes on the weekends. So this didn't really appeal to me that much as a day trader, but I do like using Fibonacci's on longer term trades, day chart, 4-hour chart, that kind of thing. And as you can see, we did have a dip earlier this month. It came down to the 0.5. Usually I would hold funds to get in at each of these levels. Maybe 236, 382, 0.5, 618, 786, and then hope for the best. But that's how you add Fibonacci retracements to your chart. Any questions on this before I move
Yeah,
on? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I got one. I see that you're using it on the day chart. How does it work the same way on smaller time frames?
Yes, yes. Let's go to my hour chart here.
So do you draw it on the bigger one and then view it on the different charts, or do you draw it on each
The
time
traders who
frame?
use these a lot will draw them on any size charts. I only really use them on the day charts, but I wanted to answer your question. Like, let's say you're pondering this link trade and you want to use fibs to figure out where to get in. Click on pick your fib. Here's clearly the lowest point right here. Draw that up to the top, just right about here, and then pull it over a little bit. And that tells you where you want to get in. Maybe you want to get in, let's say you got, $1,000. You want to make 5 entries, 236, 382, 0.5, 618, 786. Or maybe you ignore the 236, you wait to the 382, 0.5, 618, 786,
No.
886.
So do those line up with conventional support and resistance lines, or is it conventional support and resistance lines line up with the Fibonacci's? In other words, hen and chicken.
Well, one of the features of the video is the concept, Patrick and I have talked about this, about the self-fulfilling prophecy, that, traders see these tools and then they trade by them, and then that creates,
Yeah.
entries and anticipation. So I don't really have a good answer to your question, but however you get there.
Well, I see that one, the third one down doesn't look like it's related to anything. But if we go back further, is it like on the chart? If we go back a little bit, does it line up with something?
Um, Perhaps, but let's make the chart smaller.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that line pretty much lines up with the top of that chart
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. There's
Okay.
some action here too. So, yeah, that's how that works.
Nice.
And
I learned about this years ago too, but I have really ignored it for the last
yeah,
couple of years.
I learned it probably a little too soon, and I tried to adapt it to day trading and shorter swing trading, and I just didn't really work for me back then. But I do like it to see what other traders are doing, because I know a lot of other traders use it, and I use it on the day chart and the 4-hour chart, but I don't usually go below that. But we can work once we start breaking all-time highs again, then I think there could be some value in this tool here, the trend-based fib extension. But I'll wait till we do that to talk about it. All right, and this really isn't intended to be, a whole diatribe about Fibonacci's. I know I have people with different experience levels here on my Zoom call, so I try to deal with some intermediate stuff like this, or even advanced, and then keep it simpler for those who are just learning. So, all right, well, that covers that question. I'll deal with the other ones at the end. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the market overall. And we were looking at the Bitcoin chart on the day. I forgot to add the Ethereum chart. So let's do that here. While that's loading, most of the good economic data was here on Wednesday. CPI came in as expected, and one of these was even a bit lower. Yeah, the CPI I forgot which one that is. Maybe that's month to month. This one's year to year. So it came in a little bit lower than last month, and the markets rejoiced. Anyway, so go over to
You mean
Ethereum.
your markets use that as an excuse to pump, you mean?
That's just as valid as anything else. So yeah. Day chart. Okay, so we still haven't gotten into the lower part of the zone that we were in earlier this year. That'll be a 3150. I should probably just extend this, but but we are above the 200. We have stayed above the 200 EMA on the day chart, though we've been hanging around the 50 and the 20 EMAs. But Ethereum did have a good day today, over 5%, hence the background. So pretty good day today. Any questions or comments about the markets overall before we go to Altcoin Alert, find some trades? Okay, let's go to Altcoin Alert. I am on the altcoin radar. Easy mode is off. And I'm going to reload, get the most current data. First sort is usually the AA score. And I got Chainlink here with a value over 80. Looking for values 80 or higher, or at least in the high 70s. And this tells us that Link has an 80% chance to go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. A little longer on the weekends. But I wanted to go over a Link trade that I did. I used to do literal trades of the day where I would break down my trades. I obviously got away from doing those shorter videos for this format, which I think helps more people. But I think there's some value in going over recent trades, especially if it's using an approach that we've talked about before. All right, so this is the Link chart. I'm on the 30-minute. This is my short-term. This is not working the way it was earlier. Okay, must have been here. Okay, I remember now. All right, so I had set an alert on Link as a swing trade, and that on the SuperTrend, and that alert went off right here around 12:30 at night. I'd forgotten to turn it off, but I hadn't gone to sleep yet. So I made this trade off my phone. It was a perfect setup. It was in the green zone, the Trendilo LSMA. You know, my moving average had just turned green. Obviously, the SuperTrend alert went off, and there's a reason I'm showing you this. I will get to that. So the trade's right here. I got in at 1308. I made a trade on Bybit off my phone. And my goal was to get back to this red zone at around 10%. So that was here. And I set my take profit at the very top, which was right about 9.5% actually at 1432. So I did that, went to bed. And as you can see, you know, over the next day or so, it Link really shot up. And I picked that, and I was out of my trade right about here. Yeah, 13. Actually, it's 1432. It's around here. So anyway, the point is I made a plan, executed the plan, and did okay with it. I got exactly what I wanted, and I got out. Now, Link kept pumping. As you know, it's over $16 today. So a lot of people, you know, get bummed out. Oh, I should have held it longer. And that's fine if you want to do a longer swing trade. But I've talked about my short-term swing trades. I'm just looking for 10% usually as the 3x leverage. So, you know, 30% trade in a couple days. Love it. But the point is, don't get bummed out if you plan your trade, execute it, take profit, and then it keeps going. You know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, don't feel bad about that. If you think that might happen, you know, take out a portion of your trade maybe, and then let the rest ride. Just stick to the plan is what I'm trying to emphasize here. Okay, any questions
Yeah,
on my swing trade on Link?
I'd just like to comment on that because often I've thought I'd hold on for that big run, and then you don't get the exit, and then it takes another day or two before you get out. it's easy to see that you missed it afterwards, but it's really hard at the time. So I've really learned what you say there about, you know, do your plan and follow it.
Yep.
It's huge because it's also the missed opportunity when that money continues to be tied up for another day or two.
Indeed. Well, thanks for that validation, Craig. I appreciate it. But again, there's nothing wrong with being a longer term swing trader to look at maybe the day chart
Yeah, but that's your
to,
plan then, isn't it?
yeah, this is a different plan. This is look at the
Yeah.
day chart and say, hey, I want to get out at, you know, at 20 or at 19 or something. And you'd still be in that trade, but you'd be up, quite a bit. So anyway, plan that trade that plan. Okay, so we'll get back to Link in a moment. Let's look at this as a day trade now and see what we can do with it. I'm on the 15-minute this is my day trading layout featuring the RTI, and sometimes I use the cumulative delta as confirmation. My favorite entries are these down here, where it dips below the 20 on the RTI and then breaks back up. These are the alerts I set. And at the moment, after this big move, this is kind of skewered. It's hard to see. So if you double click on it, you can see it. Another option is to set an alert on the 50 value of the RTI. So when it breaks above the 50, that alert goes off. That would have happened right about here and again here on Thursday morning. At the moment, we have not dipped below the 50 yet. And then finally, you can also set an alert on this 80 value and take some of those trades. So obviously the 80 value did really well here when we had this big move yesterday morning. And I don't know if it's broken down. Yeah, it has not broken down and come back up yet. So I'll show you how to set those alerts. You can right click on the RTI, add an alert, crossing up. And you can use the 20 for the bigger dip, the 50 for the medium size, 80 for the pump, catching that pump. Or you can set one on each one if you want. Now, I'm a day trader on leverage, so I often trade shorts as well. So if you're like me and you want to trade both directions, you can click entering a channel. That'll be 80 on top, 20 on the bottom. So it breaks above the 80 and dips back down. You'll get an alert if it pumps above the 80 and dips back down. If it dips above the 80 or the 20, excuse me, now I'm confusing myself. If it dips below the 20 and comes back up, you get the alert as well. So this is a score purchase. On my notifications, I'm going to go with notify in my app on my phone, pop up on my computer, and play a sound on my computer. That would be go with Chirpy. And click create. And you'll see I've got this rectangle now. I'll set up. So that's how that works on the RTI. Any questions on Link as a day trade? Okay, over to the swing trade layout. I'm on the hour chart. Sometimes I do the 30-minute. Depends how soon I want to get in. And on Link, we already talked about the trade I took early Wednesday morning. We had another dip and another buy signal on the SuperTrend. That would have been right here. The LSMA didn't confirm till over here, but that would have been a really good entry. Right about here. And then your exit's kind of hard to see. This is a really wide resistance area. This is where you might have to go to a longer time frame to find a good resistance area to consider as an exit. So yeah, on the hour chart, you could have gone to here, kind of like I did on my trade. If you take this later trade, and I'm waiting for this to configure, yeah, it doesn't show up. We don't get a clear resistance on the 1 hour chart. If you go to the 4 hour chart and you get that, you get the prior action where Link had it later in April, about 3 weeks ago, and then you could use that information as your exit. Go ahead and take it. You enter on the 1 hour chart based off of, or the 30-minute chart, based off of this information, say at 1380. Then you look at the 4 hour chart for your exit and clear resistance here at about 1750 and 1850. So that would be a longer swing trade, probably few days, few weeks. So that's how I would approach that one on Link. Any questions? Okay. So I'll go a little bit faster on the next couple that we look at. And back to Altcoin Alert, do a social activity sort. And I'm looking for fire or thumbs up or a combination thereof for social activity, what people are talking about, and trading activity, how people are actually trading. Match those up. And we've got Link again, 0x. Looking for coins that I've traded. Chromia, I want to talk about this one too. This is a coin I shorted earlier today on my day trading approach. And let's go to the Chromia. All right, so this is a little frustrating with the RTI approach when it just kind of putzes around the key value. You can see here, there are multiple dips below the 80, like 4 of them. I took this, I think the second one on a day trade. Yeah, I took this one here at 8:30 my time. And it went kind of sideways and then against me. So I did another purchase up here, and then I got out down here. And I was watching this, and I was a little worried because of the time it dipped, and Bitcoin took a little, showed a green candle. So I got out a little bit earlier. Instead of my usual 1.3% at 10x leverage, it was a 1.2% 10x leverage. So even I can jump the gun, but I'm not going to worry about that 0.1%. It was close enough. But had I held on, it would have gone all the way down to my goal. So I'm not contradicting what I talked earlier about in that Link swing trade. But even the experienced people can bail a little too soon. Yeah, and I set the alert. It's still going. It's that alert with both directions. If it breaks above the 80 and then dips, the alert goes off. If it dips below the 20 and comes back up, then it goes off as well. Any questions on Chromia as a day trade? Okay, as a swing, 30-minute chart. We'll look at that one in the hour. So we're in the red zone on the 30-minute. Don't like that. On the hour, same thing. So, and then let's look at the day chart to see where it could go back. All right, this has room to go back to this 50-cent area. It's at 34, just under 35 cents now. But this is going to be a longer trade. I mean, it took, that's 37 days. So you could be in that a month or longer to get back to 50 cents. So keep that in mind when you set your exit. Then if you really want to trade this one, it's in a sell right now on the 30-minute super trend. Probably still in a buy yeah, it's still in the buy on the 1 hour. So I think I go to the 30-minute super trend, set an alert. And super trend buy. And that was social activity sort. And do the notifications as you see fit. So once that alert goes off, it's probably going to be pretty close. It might dip and come back. So, you are going to be in the red zone on the 30-minute chart. Just bear in mind if you want this to keep going for a really good swing trade to look at that day chart and choose your exit with that information. Probably around between 45 and 55 cents, I would think. Okay, any questions on the Chromia swing trade? All right. It's Friday. Let's look for a short. I like to look for swing trades using the long-term sentiment sort. It's kind of sort of similar to what we just talked about. Long-term sentiment is what people are talking about online. You can hover over this question mark to get a better description. I'm going to match that with the elder impulse. And instead of looking for bullish, though, I'm going to flip it. Look for bearish. And we've got quite a few I've traded before. XCM, KDA, Aave, Tron doesn't match. Gala, BCH. So Illuvium. BCH has been more volatile than usual the last, say, couple months. So let's look at this as both a swing and a day trade, because yeah, we're almost in the red zone. We just came out of the red zone. So this would have been a nice entry later in the morning, because we had the break right about here. Yeah, let's take a better look at that. Yeah, that's where it is on the RTI. And well, not really. It just went down about 0.5% and sideways. So it's not as good as I thought. That would have been an okay entry coming out of the red zone, and you'd still be in that trade though. As a swing, I think we'll see something similar. Let's look on the 30-minute. Okay, it printed a sell, then a buy this morning. Yeah, it's hanging around the red zone on the 30 anyway, and we've got room, 7-8%. To be honest, if I were looking for a short, I'd probably look for something that moves a little bit better than this. This might be a good one to short on lower leverage, 2 or 3x. That would be a reasonably safe trade from liquidation. And I would just go with the super trend alert, set that here, and sell. I might just go ahead and put this one in. Long-term sentiment buy. And I like handbell for my swing trade alerts. So when that sell goes off, I will look at my Trendilo LSMA, see if that's in my favor. It is at the moment. Then I would probably look for a move either in this support, around 4 to 5%, or down here around 8%. on the short of the weekend. Now, if you want to hold it longer, you think we're due for a big correction, the green zone on the day chart is way down here. Yeah, 50% eek. I don't think I'd wait that long. Some more resistance or support here. I'd probably go with 400, 410 around there. That's what I'd be looking for on a shorter swing trade short. Any questions on BCH? All right. Any questions on any of the trades we've gone over or anything on Altcoin Alert? Very well. We will enter the question and answer session, the email questions. So I'll keep those over here. It's probably not necessary to put them up on the screen share, but if you see me looking to the side, you'll know why. All right, so I got a question. What is the blue line with the RTI? So let's go to that layout. And so, yeah, here's what he's talking about. This blue line on the RTI is a moving average that comes with the RTI. And with any indicator, you can mess around with the settings and make them more visible to you. I don't really do anything with this, so I could just as easily turn it off. I left it on in case I would want to do something with that. Is Frank here today? I didn't see him in the participants. I was going to ask him if he used it. He likes the RTI as well. Okay.
Maybe CJ, you could go into where you load the indicator and show where you can find all the information out about the indicator.
I have done something like that in a past video. We'll see if, but I'll go ahead and at least go through that fairly quickly. But here's where you find your indicators on TradingView. You hover over this with your cursor. You can click that, type in RTI. And I use the one by Zellerman.
Yeah, now go right out to the right, and there's the document about how it works. One more, that one.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what
where
you
get
meant.
all. Yeah, that's where you get all the information on how it works.
Right. So the author of the indicator will describe it, usually show examples on how to use it. So yeah, thanks for that, Craig. That's a good idea. And then once you load it, you can change around the settings. I added this midline because I knew I was going to use the 50. And then I increased the opacity all the way. I think it was in the middle somewhere on the default. And then I chose the default was the smallest thickness. I chose the next one. And I do this on almost all my indicators. Okay, so that's what the blue line is for, a moving average, but I don't really use it. And the next question, how do you get the RTI and cumulative delta color from the low to the high? And I think I just answered that, but I'll look at the cumulative delta as well. I usually make the opacity all the way. So yeah, that's why mine are brighter than what you might see on the default. And the same thing on the RTI. I just turned that off, but I made this the second thickness and the opacity all the way. So that's how that works. And that's why they show up a little bit better, especially on the black background. Okay. You use the 1-day chart for initial analysis. What are the minutes and what are the indicators on the chart? Okay, so he's talking about my day chart. That's here. I spent some time going over the Fibonacci retracement earlier because that was another question. So I'm not going to go over that again. And then I discussed my multi EMA, which I just added. That's new, but I'm replacing the prior EMA that I had on before. And again, if you search multi EMA, It's this one by Chipmunk. So I just found that a couple days ago. And then I maxed these out on the opacity as well to get them a little bit brighter. Yeah. And I use the 20, the 50, and the 200. That's mostly what the guys in CryptNation use, but you can make 100 instead of 200, whatever you want. But those are the ones that most traders use, 20, 50, and 200. You can put those values here. In this particular indicator, you could add more. They've got some default ones, 100, 400. 9 is pretty common for short-term traders. 26 and 12 I see as well. So I'm not a big EMA guy, but I like to have it on my day chart. The watermark is something I learned from Bryce. That's this one here. And it just tells me what exchange this is, the coin, and the time period, and the upper, the increase or decrease in that time frame. And I've also talked about divergence, but I've turned that off. As a second divergence, I don't really talk about much. SuperTrend, I talk about on my swing trade layouts. And supply and visible range, I turn that off since I've got the Fibonacci in right now. But when I don't have a Fibonacci in, I would have that turned on. So these are all easily downloaded to a layout from this indicator portion. Okay, so that covers the day chart. And they asked the same questions essentially for the swing trade and the day trade.
Yeah, just one comment on the indicators there, CJ, is some of them are dependent on what plan you pay for. Some of them are only available on the higher value plans.
Right. So if you have a free account or just the Pro Plus, or is it just the free that limits you? I can't remember how that works.
The free limits the number of indicators you can have. I think it's only 3.
Yep.
And by the time you put the Bollinger Bands on and a couple of things, you use it up very quickly.
Yeah.
But the visible range profile one, you've got to be on the top plan for it to be available.
Okay, I did not know that. Thanks for that. And yeah, as a frequent trader and with doing a lot of auto trading as well, yeah, I need to have as much information as I can. So I have unlimited. I have the premium plan, which is pretty expensive. It's, I don't know, $600 a year, but there's usually a significant discount around Black Friday and one other date. So that's when I usually
Easter is the other one.
So those 2 dates have a significant discount, and I re-up then for about, I don't know, half to 2/3 of the cost. So
yeah, it's about a 50% discount. Often when you join on a lower plan, they'll often offer you that same discount to upgrade.
And you really shouldn't, don't get the premium plan if you're just a casual trader. But if you're really into this and you're looking at it every day, it's something you might want to consider. Okay, so let's go over these layouts and then we'll wrap this up. The day trading layout, pretty much all the indicators I have loaded you see here. So RTI, cumulative delta, supply and demand visible range. If you can't get this because you're on a lower plan, go ahead and just look for another support and resistance. And I want to see if I have another one saved. It looks like that's the only one I have saved. But there's a lot of them that'll help you out with that. Yeah, there's 30 or 40 of them listed here. Okay, and then he was asking about the days. I don't really pay attention to that. On the day chart, it goes back to, well, actually, if I reset my chart view, and this is a handy little, well, once you do it, it doesn't provide anymore. But if you've moved this around, and it's up here, and it's like, oh, I need to get this back where it was. You can just click here, reset your chart view, and it'll go back. But this is cutting off my fib labels, so I'm moving it over. But if it weren't for that, my days would be going back to about October. But that's not something I really take into consideration. I just want to look at the information that's in front of me. If I need to go back further, I'll just drag it back. If I want to go further than that, you can use this date function here, this go to, and just type in where you want to go, and it'll put you there. So on my day trading, on the 15-minute chart, this goes back, not very far, just to a couple days. The 5 minutes going to be maybe a day and a half. And, I bounce between the 30-minute, the 1 hour on my swing trading approach, and sometimes the 4 hour, as you saw earlier. So the number of days here is about 8 or 9 on the 1 hour. But again, it's not something I really take into consideration unless I need information going back. I think that covers all of the questions. Any follow-ups or additional questions on what I went through or anything else on the charts? Well, thanks for hanging in with me longer than usual for a Friday. We went about 45 minutes. If you're watching on the recording, I appreciate that. Hope to see you live next time. Please check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help fund the channel. The rest of you guys have a good weekend. Bye.